Hello, Jar Production 101 here. Today we're diving into a breakdown of Final Destination Bloodlines trailer. We'll go over hidden references, Easter eggs, and subtle details you might have missed. But before we get into that, let's start with my initial reaction watching the trailer.
Drinks all around.
Oh, Jesus. I hate that.
Family, you don't get to pick the one you get. Just gotta love the one you got.
I always knew this day would come.
I got it.
I don't think you got it.
I held him off for years.
Jesus.
Get up here.
Oh, look, it's Junior Wheeler from
Relentless son.
the Chucky series.
Won't stop till he finishes the job. Death is coming for our family.
I said,
Grandma, what's happening to us?
Years ago, I had a premonition that started it all. I saw what death was about to do. I saved a lot of lives that night.
Everyone needs to get off the dance floor!
Lives that were never meant to be saved. But death doesn't like it when you mess with his plans. This book, it will show you everything you need to know to keep our family safe.
Wait,
It all started with
hold on.
Grandma. Death is coming for us because we were never supposed to exist.
Only by embracing death will it pass you by.
Maybe Death's not actually coming for our family. Because that would be crazy.
Good luck.
Oh, yeah, definitely a fresh take on the Final Destination franchise. Foreign language. So is this a pile up from the second film? Twix has high limit of fuel. This is definitely the flame from the first movie. Fuel is stored or not near the ruins. War seats less chance of survival. Oh, I think this is just a book that Grandma wrote or sketch for her, survival. After watching it nearly 100 times, I put together how the story might play out, character connections, and more. As with every Final Destination movie, Easter eggs and ominous signs are scattered throughout. Let's break it all down. Right off the bat, we're introduced to what looks like our main characters, a family marked by death. One of the first things we notice is the fruit shake in the blender. The color looks almost like a blood, possibly foreshadowing the gruesome events to come. The family appears to be having a reunion, but there's one person noticeably absent. We'll get to that later. Our main protagonist, Stephanie, looks visibly uneasy, which suggests she may have already had a vision or noticed warning signs that something terrible is about to happen. A small but familiar detail to longtime Final Destination fans will recognize is the beer brand one of the characters puts down, High's Pale Ale. This fictional brand has appeared in previous films, making its first appearance in Final Destination 2 on the truck with the tagline, "Drink responsibly." The same brand also pops up in Final Destination 3. The Final Destination, seriously, why didn't they just call it Final Destination 4? It still bugs me. And Final Destination 5. Another callback is a near miss moment when the character almost gets burned by barbecue sand. This might be a reference to Final Destination 3 with Kevin and explosive barbecue scene at the end of Final Destination 2. Next, we see a funeral likely for the father, and we get an overhead shot of his casket. The framing is similar to the shot of Ashley and Ashlyn's funeral from Final Destination 3, which is probably a nod to that. And this funeral is probably the turning point where Stephanie starts questioning her visions and searches for answers, leading her to her estranged grandmother. So, where was that grandmother during the family reunion? It seems to me that she was shunned by the family for constantly warning them about these deaths and visions and stuff. Over the years, she's likely developed elaborate methods to protect them, but they eventually just distanced themselves from her paranoia. Now, without her involvement with the family, that now has an open path to take them one by one. In the trailer, we see a flashback of a young version of the grandma. She will later get a premonition of a fatal accident of a high-rise restaurant. In the shot, we get a full view of the restaurant tower where a big accident is about to take place. The framing also subtly references the high dive scene from the opening of Final Destination 3. As expected, she tries to warn people, but only a few listen. My best guess is this will be the opening scene for the film before we see our new main protagonist, Stephanie.
A lot of lives that night.
Everyone needs to get off the dance floor!
Lives that were never meant to be saved. But Death doesn't like it when you mess with his plans.
I also wonder if this is the very first premonition which may have started a chain reaction to the previous films, because that would be cool to see. At some point in the movie, Stephanie finds her grandmother's home, which looks like an absolute war zone. Her grandma hands her a book filled with journals, notes, and drawings. One page shows a flipped truck, and of course the iconic log truck from FD2 alongside a plane, clearly referencing Flight 180 from FD1. There are also survival tips like don't order hot tea, they don't clean the pot enough. No wonder the family thought she was crazy. This book appears to be a journal documenting how to cheat death, and it seems like Grandma is passing the torch to Stephanie, as she knows her own time is up, and my guess is she dies later in the movie. Other drawings in the book references the past deaths, including Alex Browning's demise by a falling brick.
And this is what happened to Alex when I was responsible for him.
It's likely she's been following these stories closely and recorded every incident in her journal, as she was around those times when the events of the previous films took place. Here we see newspaper clippings, one most likely referencing FD3's Carnival ride accident and another about FD5's suspension bridge collapse. Here we see a family tree, which could possibly indicate that certain victims are directly tied to the characters in the previous films. One possible character is Evan Lewis from Final Destination 2, as 4 of the characters in Bloodlines, including Stephanie, will have Lewis as their last names. Also, the way the names are arranged here reminds me of how Alex mapped out Death's order in the first film.
It skipped him and went to the next person on the path that went to Billy. Alright, and then it was clear.
Unlike previous films, where Death took victims in order they would have originally died, except for Final Destination 2, which flipped the order but still followed the same pattern.
You said that you die in the order you originally meant to.
But my friends died last in my premonition, not first.
Wait. Died last. Backwards.
Final Destination Bloodlines shake things up. Since Death is dealing with generations of people who were never supposed to exist, it's likely targeting victims in generational order, starting with the older generations and working its way down.
All started with Grandma. Death is coming for us because we were never supposed to exist.
And based on what we've seen early in the trailer, the father will likely die early in the movie. Remember that idea from Final Destination 2? The one Mr. Bloodworth hinted at?
Only new life can defeat death.
There was even an alternate ending in the first movie that played with this concept, but it got scrapped after test audience didn't respond well to it. Well, Bloodlines is playing with that concept again and making it a big part of the story. This also answers a question I've had for a long time. If someone on Death's list has a child, does it break the cycle? Well, Bloodlines makes it clear that answer is no, as Mr. Bloodworth followed up with this.
But the introduction of life that was not meant to be, that could invalidate the list. Force death to start anew.
So I think what he meant all along was that Death just starts a new cycle for the children or bloodline you've created, but after he's done with them, it will just come back for you too.
Antagonist is death. There's no way. We all die. There's no such thing. I mean, you can't escape it.
Death is relentless and doesn't hesitate to go after the bloodline you've created.
I held him off for years. He's a relentless son of a bitch.
In Final Destination franchise, anything associated with good luck is usually a bad omen.
Yeah, it's like, hey, man, the last flight without the plane crash or anything, so I figured it's gotta be on the bag, or at least with the bag. For luck.
Oh, what are those for?
Oh, it's just something I do to relax and for luck.
In this scene, we see a character who I guess has a horseshoe charm as some form of accessory and for good luck. Only it ends up doing the opposite, getting caught in the rotating door handle and likely sealing her fate. This isn't the first time the franchise has used a horseshoe as a deadly symbol. In Final Destination 2, Evan's ring, which is shaped like a horseshoe, fell down the drain, trapping his hand. There's also this dangling horseshoe car charm in the fourth film that triggered a chain reaction, which causes the character's death. Here we see a rotating door sequence where the three characters are split up, including Stephanie, and likely her mom and a brother named Charlie. It will be a messed up scene to see Charlie and Stephanie's mom die in front of them, but not the first time in the franchise as we saw a son die in front of his mother from FD2. And the way her head gets lodged to something too is probably a nod to Nora Carpenter in that elevator scene from Final Destination 2. Speaking of connection, the actor who plays Charlie is Junior Wheeler from the Chucky TV series. Great series, by the way, for Chucky fans. Because fun fact, in that show, his mother also dies in front of him. And guess who starred alongside him? It's Alex Browning himself. Small world. Finally, we get our first look at Mr. Bloodworth, who ominously says,
"Only by embracing death will it pass you by."
Does this mean accepting fate could be a loophole to avoid death's wrath? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Sadly, this is Tony Todd's final appearance in the franchise, as he passed away not long after filming his scenes. He may not have had much screen time throughout the series, but he'll always be one of its most iconic characters.
Good luck.
So that's everything I caught from breaking down this trailer. What did I miss? Let me know in the comments. Final Destination Bloodlines is taking a fresh approach, mixing up the formula of the past 5 films, which would be a breath of fresh air for Final Destination fans. As an avid Final Destination fan myself, I am very excited. Are you excited? Drop your thoughts below, and thanks for watching.